Hey, I'm Bill, and today I'm going to go over the CAS Manager multi-region 1IP traffic manager deployment on Azure. So this has recently become public on our Azure deployments repo, so you can find it there. Let's get into it. So the actual architectural details you can find more information about on another presentation that we did on single IP architectures. But here I'll just go over the actual advantages of the multi-region traffic manager deployment. So as the name suggests, the multi-region traffic manager can be deployed in multiple regions, so you can have workstations and cloud access connectors in multiple different regions. A load balancer for each region's cloud access connectors will be deployed, and the traffic manager will query these load balancer endpoints and select the most appropriate endpoint based on the performance and speed needs. So the cloud access connectors all connect to the same underlying domain controller through VNet peering. So even though it's multi-region, it'll all use the same credentials because they're all connected to the same domain controller. So a bit about the deployment process. I won't go too much detail into this since I'm about to go over a demo on it, but the basic steps is that you want to ensure the basic requirements are fulfilled. So you want an active Azure subscription and a valid PC over IP registration code, which you can receive from our sales team. You want to fill out the credentials and the variables in the terraform.tf-vars file for the deployment, which you'll see when I begin my demo. You want to begin the deployment by issuing a command to Terraform and then wait for the resources to finish provisioning. And finally, once everything's finished provisioning, you want to log into the CAS Manager and configure all your user credentials and assign them workstations. And following that, you should be able to connect. So that was a bit quick, but it will make more sense once I go over my demonstration, which is coming in the next section. Alright, so I'm here on the Azure portal homepage. What I'm going to do is open the browser Cloud Shell by clicking on this button. And as you can see, I'm in an empty browser Cloud Shell drive. You can run the script locally as well, but the issue with that is there's a lot of dependencies and a lot of environment variables that you might need to set up. So the nice thing about the browser Cloud Shell is everything's already set up for you. You don't need to install any dependencies, so there's a much lower chance of anything going wrong. So this is a fresh browser Cloud Shell. The first thing I'm going to do is just to clone this repo. So I have the deployment scripts in here. So that'll be git clone. Alright, so that's done. So you should have an Azure deployments folder now. Now we're going to change into the directory that we're interested in, which is the multi-region traffic manager 1IP deployment. Alright, so this is a folder, and these are the files in the folder. So the file that we're interested in filling out is the terraform.tf-vars file. So currently there's a tf-vars.sample file here, and what you want to do is just to rename the sample file into the actual file as follows. So that should be done. Now you want to open it up. Alright. So these are the variables that you fill out. So these top couple of variables here are describing the workstations. So for instance, this is describing a Linux machine that's on WestUS 2 with a count of 1. So we want to deploy one of these right now. Same, but it's for Windows. And these are graphics VMs for Linux and Windows respectively. So I don't actually want to deploy any right now. So I'll turn these to 0. And I'll also deploy 2 copies of the standard VMs. So I want one in US West 2 and I want one in East US just to demonstrate the multi-region feature of the Traffic Manager deployment. So currently I have one Linux VM and one Windows VM on WestUS 2 and one Windows VM and one Linux VM on EastUS, and no graphics VMs. So what we want to fill out is the CAC location list, which corresponds to the locations of the workstations. So make sure these locations match the locations that you filled out in the workstation variables here. So as I said before, it's WestUS 2 and EastUS in this case. And the CAC count list specifies the number of cloud access connectors that we want to deploy in each region. So this just specifies 2 in WestUS 2 and 2 in EastUS. A lot of these variables are optional, so you don't have to worry about them. I will actually fill out the prefix with the demo prefix. All these are optional. So here I am at the passwords, and you do want to fill these out. So the passwords have a couple of requirements. They have to contain one capital letter, one lowercase letter, one special character, and one number. So I suggest you make it in something secure, which I'll do now. And this is a PC over IP registration code, which you can receive from our sales team if you don't already have one. I already have one that I can use here, so let me just find mine. Alright, so that should be all done. Now the next two variables you have to fill out are the application ID and the AAD client secret. So these are associated to what's called a service principal. So it's just a managed identity for managing this deployment. So to create one, you want to click on app registrations. I already have a few registered, as you'll see soon, as you can see here, but I'll create a new one just to outline the steps. So you click on new registration, and I'll just name it Traffic Manager Demo, register. So it's registered, and this is the client ID that you can just copy in. And another thing you want to do is create a secret. So click on certificates and secrets, click on new client secret, secret. So this value only turns up once, and it's a secret value, so make sure you keep it in a private, safe location. So after you navigate away from this page, you won't be able to see the secret value anymore. Okay, so there's just one more variable that you need to fill out here, and it's the Traffic Manager DNS name. So this will just be the DNS name that you log in with from the PC over IP client. So it'll just be dnsname.trafficmanager.net. It does need to be globally unique, so make sure you pick something that isn't too common. I'll just pick Teradici Demo BY, and hopefully that isn't taken already. So that should be all the variables that you need to fill out. There's just one more step that you need to do, which is to go to subscriptions, click on your subscription, go to the access control, and click add role assignment. So you need to add roles to the service principal that you just created. So you need to add 3 roles in total. You need to add reader, contributor, and virtual machine contributor. So I'll start with reader, and like I said, it'll just be the service principal you just made. So click that and save. Now you need to add contributor. Once again, save. Finally, virtual machine contributor. Same thing, and save. Alright, so that should be everything that you need to set up done. and you're ready to start running Terraform. So step number 1 to that is just to run Terraform init, wait for everything initialized, and now run Terraform apply, auto approve, and there we go. It just took a while to verify because I guess I made 2 different regions. Alright, so like I said, this will take a while, so I'll stop the video here and I'll see you when it's done. Alright, I'm back and it looks like everything is good and ready to use. So all the resources got provisioned and I'm in the resource group of the provisioned resources. So by default, the resource group name will be something like CAS manager 1IP TF followed by some random hex code. So looking through what got provisioned, it's looking like everything I want is there. I specified 2 different regions, East US and West US 2, and there's a VNet created in each region, which looks good. There's a load balancer in each region and VMs in each region. So everything looks good. The traffic manager's here. So the final step, you need to actually configure the workstation so that they're ready for use with the PC over IP client, is to connect to the CAS manager and assign users to those workstations. So to do this, you want to copy this public IP here, CAS manager public IP, connect, and you want to go HTTPS, and log in with the credentials that you specified. So go to workstations, add existing workstation, private cloud, SWN0, individual users, CAS admin, save. So it can sometimes take a minute, but it should be available soon. So to actually connect the workstations, you want to type in the domain name that you configured in the earlier variables file. So I made mine to be Teradici, that might be why. If you forget what this is, you can actually go into the actual traffic manager resource to copy it. It will just be shown on the front page there, but this should be fine. Connection name demo. Connect. CAS admin. Once again, type in your credentials that you specified. Hold on. Alright, so it looks like I got it. And it connected. So the reason it connected instantly is because I only assigned 1 workstation to this user, so the PC over IP client knows to connect to this workstation automatically. If I assign multiple workstations to this user, there will be a list of workstations that were assigned that will come up and you can choose between them. So the traffic manager will actually connect to the load balancer endpoint that's best in terms of performance based on your location. This can be troublesome if a user assigned workstations in one region but not the other. To get around this, you can actually connect to the endpoints of the load balancers directly. So all you need to do for that, if you want to connect to a particular region, let's say you want to connect to West US 2, you can go to the public IP addresses of the load balancer for West US 2, and you can just connect to this IP address from the PC over IP client. Alright, so that about wraps up everything I wanted to present. I think I covered everything in a good amount of detail, so hopefully you can start deploying your own traffic manager deployments now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.